Okay, me too.
Oh, hi everybody. Angela. I'm here with Angela. Skurtu? Is that how you say last name?
Yeah, Skurtu.
Okay, good.
Like
Yay.
2 skirts backwards.
2 skirts. Skirt 2. I'm wearing a skirt too. I'm not. I have blue jeans on.
I am though, but that's okay. I won't judge you.
Oh, thank you. Because I'm all about the jeans and tennis shoes. That's the kind of gal I am.
Actually, I like looking at the person I'm talking to, if that's okay.
No,
so
we
I was
have
thinking,
to look.
no, because like
weird.
when you have a conversation, you look
Angela,
right at the
how are
person.
you?
I know. I found that like when my husband and I were doing it, I would talk to each other. So he's like, Angela, we're gonna have to move.
Oh no, we
I
always do this.
Yeah.
It would be weird.
It would be weird. Yeah,
like,
you got to talk to each other.
Is my microphone on?
Right now we're just testing, so you know.
You
but we are going to do the show soon.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Test. Sibilance. Right.
Oh.
Right. Okay.
And then I have to hook this thing up to it, or else my battery just like drains.
Yeah, mine's gonna drain totally. But I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't plan for
I
it.
like. I'm like, whenever I'm doing podcasts, I'm like, do I have this? Do I have all the things I gotta have? I remember all the things. So yeah.
And thank you for having me, of course.
I'm so excited. Well, after I talked to you, I'm like, okay, she has to be on my podcast, and there are other things.
There's a lot of things we can talk about. There's so many things that people do in their bedrooms. You have no idea what I talk about all day.
Well, seriously, but it was so interesting because I was thinking, my curiosity factor went up because I thought, well, that could be such an interesting subject in so many different ways, and also that whole thing of, you know, like I don't want to say it because it might be part. We
might talk about it on the podcast. So let's keep all the good stuff for the show.
So the deal is, and I don't know if you listened to any of them yet, but it's 3 9 to 10 minute segments. He'll have a what do you call that? A timer up there to kind of let us know, keep us, you know, and then the last part is questions.
Okay, cool. No, I love it. I love off the cuff. It's fun.
It's way fun. Well, I like spontaneity, and I like, I just like getting us off track of the conversation at some point to just kind of like, bing,
sometimes bunny trails are fun, you know? I've noticed. I love a bunny trail. You can bunny trail back.
Let's bunny trail now. We're bunny trailing.
Oh, it's so true. It's so crazy, all the things I talk about in a day. And it's funny to me, I think I said this to you, I may not, but it's funny to me when somebody's scared to say vagina to me because they're like, is it okay to say vagina? And I'm like, you can say whatever you want. I talk about sex all day. Nothing is going to flip me out.
Well, who was I watching? Chelsea Handler, who I love. She says Pikachu. That's what she calls
Pikachu.
That's an interesting term. But it is funny because you just never know, like, where their comfort factor is in talking. I'm just curious about everything. So I just want to know, like, I'm just like, tell me.
Well, I have come up with like different terms for things to make it a little bit easier for people. So I've noticed women hate the word blowjob, but me and my husband, we come up with these phrases. Sparkle session. It makes it a little bit more fun to think of I'm going to give a sparkle session than a blowjob because it feels like a job, you know? Like who wants to have sex as a job?
That's true, job. Yeah, right.
And then another one, instead of a hand job, is a hand joy. It's hand joy.
Hand joy.
And you can give it on either side. Sparkle
and
session.
hand
You know, like think of sparkles, right? It's so lovely. So sometimes you have to rename things, especially if you have a negative connotation on the word.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Words are a thing.
I hear they're a thing. They're coming out of our mouth, so I hear.
Words are a big thing. Well, you know what is, we were talking about this the other day, though, how emojis have become so big. And, like, are we going back to hieroglyphics in a sense? Like
this are going to ride in the caveman ways.
But the thing is that words can also be limiting because just knowing another language, which I don't think I really could speak Spanish fluently anymore, but I used to be fluent in Spanish. And just knowing that other language, I found it so interesting that there were feelings that I could convey in Spanish that I couldn't really convey in English. And I thought, that is so because
it's a more expressive language, perhaps.
Well, just because of, I don't know. I mean, and then I've read other things. Like there was a woman one time from Japan saying that when she was talking about her being a woman and rights and blah, 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 blah. She said, it's much more comfortable for me to talk about in the English language. She goes, as soon as I start talking about it in Japanese, I feel differently about it. I was like, isn't that interesting?
Because isn't it a kind of patriarchal society?
Well, right. And so then my thought was, if we go back to having symbols, then does that kind of open up more feelings? Because there's not like the words, you know what I mean?
Sure, like you can, well, I think, honestly, even with my own words, I feel limited by just words. I use expressions. My mother is deaf, and so I learned to talk using my hands a lot.
Really?
And so I even notice, like, when I'm on the radio or when I'm talking, the more I, like,
well, I always use my hands.
physically,
Yeah.
the more I feel like I'm actually expressing what I mean.
Right.
As opposed to just the words. So I agree. I don't know if it has to be emoji form. I think the more you speak with your body.
Emojis would be limiting.
Because, like, in deaf community, they express their emotions with their physicality. And I think that helps you really experience the conversation a little differently. So, I don't know. I think you're onto something.
You can do sign language?
I can do some. Yeah. I'm not as fluent because actually my mother was taught growing up to read lips. She grew up in that era where it was considered like you were in a special school, and her mother spent hours just like going over the words again and again, trying to teach her. So growing up, she was actually speaking, and she learned sign language as I aged. Wow. So I didn't pick up the sign as easily.
Interesting.
I know.
Are you ready for us?
I am. Can I ask you, are you still visible? Would it be possible for you to scoot slightly further apart? Just for sound reasons?
Is this good?
Yeah,
Is this good?
That'll help.
No, of course, we're happy to.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we can still see. You're still there.
I'm in the front.
We're good.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that might actually be the thing to do, is just push it back a little bit.
Back a little bit. Then you can...
Oh, perfect.
Hi, we're in two places. Hi. We're like bilocating. Ooh. That's awesome.
This is how you grow your audience.
Hello. So over here, like, hi, Angela's audience.
Yep, this
hi,
is
Mich's
Mich Hancock, my audience.
All right, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
We're ready.
You tell me when to go.
All right, I'll give you the thumbs up in 1 second.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hi, this is Mich Hancock, and you are listening to Mishmash, a place where I get to talk to the weird, wacky, wonderful people of this world, people I adore and want to know more about. Today, my guest is Angela Skurtu. Angela is a speaker, author, and president of St. Louis Marriage Therapy. She is a Missouri licensed marriage therapist and nationally certified sex therapist. Her recent book, Premarital Counseling, A Guide for Clinicians, discusses the predictive factors of marital success, 5 habits for healthy relationships, and how to keep the spark in the relationship long term. Hello, Angela. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Mich. Thank you for having me.
So we met. We've met a few times.
Yes.
But most recently, you and I were discussing sex. Because that's what we do, and there were so many things you were talking about. I went, this is so interesting. Like my curiosity factor went up when you were talking about what the vanillas can learn from the kinks, and I'm like, wait a minute, you need to be on a podcast because this is just interesting. So and you have a book. Mm-hmm. Talk about the book.
Okay, so Premarital Counseling, A Guide for Clinicians. I really cover in depth some of the skills that couples need to keep their marriage successful long term, skills for how to listen to each other, how to shift their conflict in the way they talk to each other. Like earlier we were talking and I said what I tell couples is just don't fight. People are like, what? And I know that sounds silly, and I'm not saying that people won't fight, but the goal is to work on talking through conflict, not fighting, because I think everybody's experienced this, but when you fight, you get nowhere.
Right.
Everybody feels that way, because basically you're just escalating. Fighting is your emotions going out of whack, and both of you doing that and attacking each other.
And really not listening to each other.
Yeah, you don't get to a resolution.
I'm like in defense of my, I'm going to prove that I'm right.
And when you're fighting to win, not to listen and understand, and that's a problem.
Exactly.
And so I talk about that, and I also have a chapter about how to make your sex life strong and last long term. Because actually this is one of the biggest problems couples will come to me later about, is that they feel like their sex life has completely died.
The spark
or
is gone.
they're just having it so rarely, or they just don't even understand their own desire. Women and men are so different in the way they experience their desire. And so sometimes men are expecting women to behave a certain way that they're just not wired to do.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And so I'm trying to teach people that.
But what I love is that, and it's so true, it's not like, I mean, you think of, if you go back to, you know, in school, what do they teach the kids? They don't teach them how to communicate about your sex life with that other person. They're just like, this goes in there, and then babies are made. You know, it's like,
yeah, it's very basic.
Yeah.
And usually it's abstinence only. That's the most common one used, which, by the way, research does not support. It ends up, people who use that abstinence only training tend to have states that, those are states that have higher pregnancy rates in teenage, and in the teenage years, and they also have higher STD rates. So it's actually a terrible form of education.
Makes sense because it's kind of like, you know, like, just don't do it, you know, and then the kids are like, I'm sort of
But what about all those kids who are like, oh, I like this, and this is fun.
Things here. Well, and I think it's that whole mysterious thing. Like, this is like, okay, here's what I'm going to go with right now.
Sure, do you think?
It's like McDonald's.
Okay.
You know, if you're like, my children never eat McDonald's, never ever. They just do not eat. I'm all about health. Well, the thing I think of in my head is when that kid starts driving, they're going to live at McDonald's. They're going to be like, there was the mysterious place that my mom would never let me go to, and now I'm eating it every day.
You said this was poison, and I ate it, and it was amazing.
Yeah, it is so good, you know. So that's the thing. I think that if you are constantly like, let's not even talk about it, just don't even do it. It's terrible, terrible, bad, bad, bad. And then the kid's like, it's not so bad.
So we were talking about this early too, and one thing I use is a harm reduction model rather than an abstinence only model. And basically what harm reduction is we understand that people are going to have sex. This is also used for drugs. So like we understand that sometimes people are going to want to drink or try things.
Right.
So rather than focusing on the vice as like, oh, this is a terrible
thing. Don't ever do it. Right.
Because people, once they do it, there's reasons people do this. Sex is fun. And
right.
Alcohol can be fun too. Safely done.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So if you think of harm reduction, it's okay, how do we be safe with the behaviors around this activity? So how I frame it for like parents who are trying to talk to their kids is I say, imagine you're putting your kid on a bicycle and you're teaching them how to ride a bicycle. You put a helmet on, you put these shoulder pads and knee pads on. You putting that on isn't you condoning them crashing the bike.
Yes.
Right? You're not saying, I would like you to go forth and crash all over. No, you still want them to bike safely. But what you're doing is you're protecting them if an accident does occur.
Exactly.
That's why birth control and condoms are so important. You're not saying you just get to have sex willy-nilly. But I mean, some kids will, and you kind of have to deal with that.
Right.
But you are saying if you're going to engage in this activity, please protect yourself. Let's prevent some STIs. Let's prevent an unwanted pregnancy because you don't need to get pregnant that young.
Exactly. I mean,
unless you really, really want to. No,
and we were talking earlier about how, you know, a lot of with teenagers, the thought is there are things that you could do right now that will cause issues for the rest of your life. So we
I
don't
think of
want
sexting
that
when
to
you
happen.
say that.
Well, it's true though.
Right?
So like, and what I love is, you know, so as a parent of a 15-year-old daughter, like what kind of a conversation should I have with her and that would make sense, that wouldn't like not, that would make sense for her, that, you know, that I could say, here are some things you need to know about sex.
I always ask questions first because I would want to know what my 15-year-old knows.
Exactly.
So start with the questions like, well, what are they talking about in school? What are you learning? What do they say about sex? How do your friends and you learn about sex? Because then you kind of get a gauge of how much information they have and how much misinformation they have, right? Because sometimes they're learning from inappropriate things or from the internet. Well, that's the most common way people learn is either through porn or friends. And both are pretty,
maybe
they're not
the
great.
Best sources.
That doesn't mean that they can't be helpful in small ways, but if you've got a friend who knows nothing about sex, or if you're just watching porn, I mean, they don't talk about how to talk to each other. They don't even show you romance. Like, all these pizza guys are getting, like, laid. And I don't know if that happens that way in real life. But you know what? For that pizza guy, man.
He is.
All the guys in high school are like, I want to be a pizza man.
And how disappointing for them.
They're like, I've never gotten laid on a run. Why?
It was the whole family with the kids, and that was it.
Exactly. Well, so back to your question. After you've got some information, then you can kind of guide them. Well, so you know, if ever you are considering having sex, I would love it if you just talk to me so we can decide together if it's a good choice. They sometimes will, they sometimes won't. I know some parents who go as far as to say, you know, I don't mind if you make out with each other in our house, but just so you know, I will randomly walk up here and just pretend I'm looking to do laundry, but I will be checking on you. But it can be that transparent that you're kind of protecting them, but you're also giving them a little space, but also I don't want anything bad.
Right. No. I totally get that.
You know what I'm saying? But then it's safe and you feel a little more control.
You're having that dialogue and you're transparent. The child knows where you stand on things, but also that you understand what's going on with them.
And the big thing is don't lie to your kids. Like, I see parents lying to their children like, oh, it's bad. Don't ever do that. But as soon as one of your lies is outed and they try it and they realize, I don't think this was that bad, then they don't trust you.
Right.
They think, you're just trying to keep me from doing things that are awesome. What else have you lied to me about?
Right.
And so it's important to be honest. Say, sex feels good. I understand. Like, your hormones are going crazy. You probably want to bang everything around. And that's okay. But I want you to think about what is important to you. I want you to think about what questions you would want answered before you decide to have sex.
Exactly.
What you want out of a relationship. What would make you feel loved and supported. And I think having that really honest conversation makes kids more discerning. They think through things because basically, you were saying this earlier, kids don't think long term. Like, what's the consequence
and they think
for
they're
this?
Invincible.
They do, and they know
right.
everything. You can't learn anything from their parents.
I know.
I was there once.
Smart.
I remember. I know. Even in college, we don't even develop, our brain doesn't develop fully until you're 25.
Right.
So even college kids are a little, you got to be careful because they don't know everything. But I think that having those honest conversations helps them to make good decisions for themselves.
Very cool. Well, we are going to take that was awesome, by the way.
Cool.
We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back with Angela. Yay.
Yay.
That's really good. No, it's true though. And
is.
that is the conversation because you can't be like, don't know.
This is a terrible thing.
And even they've done studies with the whole say no to drugs. Like, people did more drugs. Drugs became more prevalent.
Is not an effective
than ever. As soon as you go, don't say no to something. Everybody's like, oh, really? Wait, what are those drugs? Let's try those out.
If you follow the research, abstinence-only programs in all realms are failing. They are not effective forms of treatment. Harm reduction is the most effective because it's really focusing on problematic behaviors around these things. Even in alcohol or drug use, it's saying people like to get high. That's not going to change. That's happened since the dawn of time.
Exactly.
So instead of freaking out about having a drug, let's talk about how to be safe with this.
Yes.
If you're drinking alcohol, how about we give our keys to somebody else and not drive home? Or go Uber somewhere, right?
Right.
Or if you are going to drink, how about you learn how to drink as a mature person? Like, you can actually have a drink and then, like, have a glass of water or eat a burger.
Right, yeah, you don't have to, like, the
doesn't
goal
have to be
should not
chug,
be like,
chug.
let's get drunk.
Yeah,
right,
like, you can get a nice buzz, you can enjoy, you can,
right.
Yeah, you don't have to be a social menace to drink. You can actually drink like an adult, but people don't teach their kids how to drink like an adult. They just say don't do it, and then kids learn to drink the way other kids do, which is glug, glug, glug.
Yeah, like, oh, were we? No, it's so true.
Yeah, I was actually talking to a guy about this, because, like, I like, when you do drink like an adult, it's kind of like, yeah, all right, there's a little buzz here, and then there can be like a level up, and then it's like, okay, there's that nice buzz, let it like slowly trickle down. And I was describing that to him, and he was like, I've never experienced that. And I was like, how do you drink? And he's like, well, I'll drink like 5 shots in a row. And I'm like, you're passing the levels. He just goes straight to blackout, and it's a problem. Yeah, exactly. That was what he would do. He would do it too quick, and that's the problem. Is that if you don't learn how to do this in an effective or safe way, would be, so to speak, then you end up drinking inappropriately and causing a lot lot in your life.
Yeah, just your liver alone going.
Yeah, just your liver,
heck,
right?
Can you leave me alone? Toxins.
I know. Well,
too much at once.
That's how people learn how to drink sometimes.
Oh gosh. All right, are you ready for us?
I am. Here we go.
And we are back with Angela. Okay, so this conversation could go into so many places.
Well, I deal with a lot of topics. So.
I mean, it just could go into so many places. So, from the stand, like, you know, okay, we were talking about this earlier, and I so want to talk about this. When people, you know, like, they get married, okay, and let's say they haven't had the conversation, they haven't read your book, they haven't been, you know, and then 3 or 4 years down the road, they're like, gosh, the spark is gone, or even longer. I mean, they're in this marriage for, you know, 10, 20 years, and they're like, whatever, been there, done that, I'm not interested anymore. What do you, I mean, you know.
No, that actually absolutely happens.
So what advice do you have for these couples?
For the couples who are already there, or for preventing it?
Well, I think both. I think
Okay.
For the couples that are like, oh, we've been married 2 years and we're still hot for each other. And at the time you think, I will always be hot for you. I can't imagine not, you know. So, like, what should they be doing right now?
Okay, so first I just want to offer education about desire, because people don't know anything about it. Okay, so your natural desire, the spontaneous desire, lasts anywhere from 6 months to 2 years in the beginning of a relationship. That's normal. That's when it's fun and it's easy. But I want to tell you about that 2 years. So couples are doing things unintentionally that are creating their desire during that 2 years. Here's an example. You think about what you're going to wear on your date. You even think about the panties and the bra you put on, or the boxers, or you think about the cologne and, like, I want her to kiss right here. And so, like, you dress up for each other, or you think about what you're going to do on your date. Like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then maybe I'll kiss her later. There's this thing you're doing in your brain that's creating a spark, that's creating that desire. And we naturally do it because you're excited and things are new and you can't stop thinking about that person, right?
Right.
But all of those things are the things people have to work at doing intentionally after that 2 years.
Okay.
And so basically what it is you create desire. And so I want to, like, just describe emotions for a second and why people are struggling with this. So there are people who have this kind of belief that I feel, therefore I act. So if I feel desire, I will then initiate sex.
Okay.
If I feel happy, I will then do cool, happy things. Like, I'm going to go on a hike and I'm going to go off to, I don't know, into the sunset. Whatever it is you do when you're happy, right? But actually,
so they think feelings come first.
Feelings come first
action.
and then actions.
Okay.
But living that life means you have kind of a chaotic life at times. People who tend to be happier, people who tend to keep their desire up, act, and then the feelings follow. So happy people, for example, act in happy ways. They get up and they take care of themselves. They maybe start with a smile. They force themselves to go to work, even if it's a day where they're like, meh, I don't want to go to work.
Right, right.
You've done this before, right? Where you're like, I don't feel like going in, but you kind of like push through and you still do the thing that could potentially make you happy. And then over time you get into your day and you start feeling like, oh, I'm getting things accomplished. I'm starting.
Going on. Right.
The same is true with desire. Desire is a byproduct of acting in desirous, kinky, fun ways. Whatever is for you, of course, because you don't have to be like wild. But if you like wild, you do you, right?
Okay. You do you.
I'm always non-judgmental. I think people can be whatever they want to be, right? But so, yeah, like acting in desirous ways could include dressing up really sexy because it feels sexy to you. Like if you wear an outfit and it makes you like look at yourself and feel proud, then that is you igniting your own desire.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Or if you flirt with your partner, like people are intentionally flirting. Like I'm not necessarily feeling the desire right now, but maybe if I do silly things like send him a little, send him a sexy pic. I'm totally down for sexting with consenting adults because it's a very fun way to like stir the pot with each other. But couples who have a good sex life are stirring the pot all the time. We call it simmering, and it's basically keeping your pot on warm.
Okay.
Because a watch pot doesn't boil if it's lukewarm.
This is true.
But if it's simmer, it goes boom, and you're ready to boil and bang.
So boil and bang.
Oh, bada bing, bada boom.
That right there. That's like the name of a podcast.
I know, right?
Boil and bang.
Boil and bang.
Boil and bang with Angela Skurtu. We're gonna boil it today, so you're banging tonight. I
got a lot of those one-liners.
So then now let's say you're the couple and you have not been simmering.
Yeah.
You forgot to simmer.
Yeah, it's pretty much there's no water in the pot anymore.
Yeah, like this is
empty,
bad.
Rusty pot.
And now you're sitting there and you're looking at each other and go, desire gone, there's no simmering, and now what do you do?
Well, that's a harder job,
I
and it
bet.
depends on how long it's been that way. So if it's just started 3 to 6 months, it's a little bit easier to do the work of helping them re-simmer than it is if it's been like 3 years, 4 years. I've had couples that's been 20 years, and they're now coming back because they retired. What they basically did is they funneled all their attention into their kids, and then they retire, and it's like, oh, we're like alone with each other. What do we do now?
Wait, get the kids back. Right.
Well,
right,
because
right. No, I get
it was
like,
a distraction. You know, like they were able, when they didn't have sex, they were like, well, I've got to focus on my kids. You know, there's ways that people kind of cope with a sexless marriage.
Is it like you can take your sexual energy and funnel it into a different place? Or is it like, it just goes away?
You kind of, you hurt, but you compartmentalize it and you just focus on something else.
Okay.
It may come up every now and then, but the more you compartmentalize and kind of leave it over here in a box, the easier it is to just focus all your attention and passion on your kids.
Gotcha.
And it just kind of goes to the back burner, or it even goes off the stovetop.
Gotcha.
Really?
There's not even a pan.
It doesn't even exist anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
But so the longer it happens, the more I have to work on the individuals, and like identifying long ago, what were the things you used to get out of sex? Like, think back to the before time, like in the caveman ages of your marriage, right?
The caveman.
Whatever,
Gotcha,
right?
gotcha.
I don't know, it's silly. But anyhow, think back to when you did like sex. What did you get out of sex? Because if there's no internal motivator for it, then they're not going to change. There was no reason. They're like, why would I do this? Other than to like stave off my partner's anger.
Okay.
And that doesn't work either. We can't do
yeah.
consequence sex.
No.
But so yeah, like if I can find something in it that they used to get out of it, then we start there.
Okay.
And then we work on helping them to stir their own pot in small ways. Sometimes the person needs no pressure. So if like one partner is interested in sex, but the other one is not, I ask the partner who's interested in sex to kind of just back off, so this person can find their desire or like get their groove back, so to speak.
Okay.
And then that freedom helps them to kind of explore. And then I make them watch a lot of sexy things, because you have to like think about sex and explore sex to start feeling sexy again. And that starts to help them as well. But I'm always respectful of people's values, so it doesn't have to be pornographic.
Right.
Not like,
that was my next question.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're saying watch this
You don't have to watch
pornographic
porn.
movie. It might just be a movie that about a couple sexy.
It could
kind
be
of...
Sex in the City episodes. Remember
Okay.
that old show where like it was
do.
4 women who were like really proud of their sexuality? I love that show because it's a model of how women can be sexy and smart and funny, and they don't have to be like, it's not that dynamic of you can only be a slut or you can only be a school marm. No, they were a beautiful perspective of like how a woman can be all of those things. And so things like that they can get their mind around. Or I like female comedians who deal with sex, like Nikki Glaser or Amy Schumer. They deal with sexual topics.
Yes, Amy does. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Not Safe with Nikki Glaser was a really good one too, but it only lasted for a year. It was such a good sex education show.
Well, what, was it a whole show?
Yeah, she did a whole season, and each season she would deal with topics. Like, remember when we were talking about labias?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it okay if I say labia on?
Of course it is, and we have such interesting conversations, us two.
She did a whole episode about how women are doing that, how they feel like they need to do labiaplasty, and her message at the end was, your labia is normal, accept it, love it, it's beautiful. And
I'm trying to
she was
imagine,
amazing.
like, is there a plastic surgeon out there like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, you know? And I mean,
I'm sure if you get money, you get money.
I guess, yeah.
But please don't get labiaplasty. It's beautiful. You have a beautiful labia.
Yes, that's very good advice. Because and I gotta tell you, I just never have thought of like, you know, let me go get that enhanced. I just never. That was an all new. Oh, hello! Didn't know that was out there thing for me.
Women with body issues is not a new thing.
Well,
I mean,
true.
forever and ever, that's a big part of my
True.
job, is helping women feel comfortable with themselves. I think that's just the newest body image fad.
It's the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But like women always struggle, like, oh, my belly, or oh, my, I don't know, all the things that we're worried about.
Right.
But women are really beautiful. And that's actually a piece of teaching them about their desire too, is helping them to accept their body as something beautiful. Because sometimes that's what's stopping them. They have an inner monologue, like say their partner's trying to initiate with them. They'll be like, oh, I'm so ugly. Oh, I hate my stomach. Oh, I can't be naked. And it gets in the way from them even enjoying the sexual experience. They don't even feel the touch the same way because they're lost in their head.
Oh.
Yeah, because good sex is mindful sex, where you just let your brain go and you just feel your feelings.
Oh, cool! Like well, not.
It
like
is. It's like yoga.
Kind of like meditating. It's like just forget all this, all the agendas, things you got to get done.
Yeah.
That has to all go away in order for you to be present with it.
Yeah, relax. Relaxation's the first foundation for sex. If you can't relax, you can't like get in the mood.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Good stuff, Angela. We are going to take a break, and we will be right back.
This really does go everywhere, doesn't
Oh,
it?
yeah. No, but that's the way I am.
No, it's
I like
fun.
talking tangents. I just go everywhere. Well, and the thing is that it keeps people awake.
Yeah.
Like, because so Scott Reagan, so he was the one who's like, your podcast, I love it, and let's take it to new places. But Scott was telling me, like, a lot of people, it's like he would tell them, keep your podcast at like 15 or so minutes, and he's like, but yours is at a half hour, and it's fine. You keep people listening the entire time. I'm like, oh, good, because I would hate if it was like, oh my God, it's just so boring.
Some of the most popular podcasts actually are longer, but they're just interesting topics.
Yeah, it has to be, you have to keep people's interest in it, I mean, if you don't, and I'm naturally interested.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I have naturally have a lot of interest in things, so I'm constantly asking questions.
And you're really fun and playful, so that keeps people having a good time, you can hear the smile in your voice.
Well, but it's so funny because you were talking about being happy, and it's true. There are days where it's like, how you get up in the morning and it's like everything goes wrong.
Yeah. I know those days.
The coffee pot didn't behave. The dog is driving you crazy. It's
your
like
baby
one
has a
thing
tantrum.
after another, right? And you're just like, and then you're like, oh, this day has started out. And I have this whole thing where I'm like, okay, just because my day started out this way does not mean this has to be the rest of the day. So start over, take a deep breath. Rest of this day is going to be fine. And if you just put that awareness on it, because when people are like, oh, my whole day has been terrible. And I'm thinking, well, because you let it keep being terrible. You do get to choose not to have a terrible day. I mean, I get it. Things happen in the morning, but whew,
well,
wash it off.
It's because those emotions have natural action urges associated with them. So like depression, when you're feeling down, has a natural reaction of you wanting to like withdraw, not taking care of yourself, isolate from people who could make you happy. And so the goal to stay happy is to not fall into those habits. Do take a shower.
Yeah, please take a shower.
Yeah, like
Go
on your
out.
worst days, like make yourself feel the best. Like make your hair and your makeup the best it's ever been, or whatever outfit that you're dynamite in, that's the one you wear that day, right? And that action of like forcing yourself to kind of do those things that create happiness helps people stave off the beast of depression, I suppose.
Ooh, I like that beast of depression. Because it is. It's horrible
Oh,
when
it's this
people get
big
in. So,
cloud.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
And we are back with Angela Skurtu, and it is question time.
Okay.
So this one I have to ask you. I kind of asked you before, but I really, really want to talk about it. Movie sex. Oh, for goodness sakes alive. Okay, so, you watch these movies, and it always cracks me when, first of all, when you have, like, the 80-year-old couple that's so, like, let's have sex all the time, and you're like, really? Is that really it? I mean, it could be. I get it. But then the people that they like, it's just this huge desire, and they both orgasm, and there's big fireworks, and it's like this whole thing, and you're like,
And there's mood lighting, and it just pans out to the back.
Oh, no, and the people look perfect. And then they wake up the next morning, and they look perfect. And, and you're just...
Yeah, they have makeup on when they wake up, and their hair is perfectly tousled to the side.
Or they're kissing in the morning, and you're like, ew, bad breath. Didn't you go brush your teeth before? So, these are like these weird things that come up in my head.
That's funny.
So you as a sex therapist, do you look at movies and go, oh, come on?
Well, sure, because I feel like it's an unrealistic expectation. First of all, nobody has an orgasm at the same time. I just want to clear the air there. Usually one person does, and then you work on the other person. It's called afterplay, people. And so afterplay. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not just foreplay. It's afterplay, and we both deserve orgasms, by the way. Sometimes the female orgasm isn't encouraged as much, or I don't know, they don't work as hard for them.
Gotcha.
But anyhow, there are quite a few things that happen. Like sometimes your dog walks into the room. Sometimes you pull hair. Sometimes you're doing it and you're just not quite getting into it yet, and you just kind of have to go back a little bit and maybe like touch or massage or kiss for a bit and then get back into sex. Well, into penis and vagina sex, because there's like oral sex, there's like using vibrators, there's, I don't know, fingering, whatever you like to do. As I mentioned earlier, the sparkle session, which is another word for a blowjob, but a nicer one. But yeah, like if you see sex, I kind of see sex as a session, not like one act, but it's a way you build into sex. So like most married sex, you may not really feel anything yet, or you may feel like a light twinge, but you're just not there yet. So you start by maybe talking and saying, how is your day? How have you been, stranger?
Gotcha.
So you got to connect, right? It's like, I don't know you. Why am I going to jump in bed with you?
Exactly.
Not that you don't know each other, but you can feel that way in a day, right? Like you've been doing your thing. I mean, we spend most of our life at work, right? So maybe you talk and you connect, and then maybe that talk moves into more flirtatious or playful talk, like, well, what do you want to do tonight? And then it starts moving into maybe touch, and maybe you're kissing, and maybe you play a game of truth or dare. Who knows, you know? But it's a building process. It's not everybody just falls into bed naked together and like has the most awesome sex. But what I find is couples who understand that process, sometimes in between those, they do have those fall into bed times because they're creating and keeping their desire going. They're simmering. You should simmer every day. Simmer.
Very cool. Okay, thank you. Because it's always one of those things I'm like, what? All right.
No.
So then, youth. We talked a bit about how to talk to your kids and, things that, but there is disturbing things going on right now with the access to pornographic material for our youth. And so, and as a parent, I mean, especially I think with young boys, that they're seeing these unrealistic things and also some very disturbing things. What does a parent do? I mean, you can lock down your internet and what have you. They are going to find it. They're resourceful.
Even before the internet, they'd keep it in a magazine and a tire somewhere.
It's going to be found. They are going to have access to it somewhere along the line. So, do you have any advice for parents on?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I recently heard a client who their mom did this to them. Their mom found them watching porn. And what the mom said is, if you're going to look at naked bodies, I want you to see what realistic women look like. And so she got him an art book. Like, and all I see art is old-timey porn because, like, everybody was naked, right?
Right.
So, like, give them a little old-timey porn so they can see what women really look, right?
I love it.
It is. Everybody loves naked people. It's been since the dawn of time, right? But like one thing she did is she sat him down with art, like, this is what women look like, and that kind of was his introduction to sex. And then over time it would be books like there's the Better Sex Guide. There's, even for young kids, there's It's Perfectly Normal, which is a kids cartoon book about teaching your kids about sex.
Oh, gotcha.
And so like at each stage, essentially there are things you can teach them to normalize it and get them be a little more discerning. And just like we talked about with harm reduction before, that it's about behaviors. It's about problematic behaviors. So it's not about the act. All porn is it's marketing something everybody loves, sex. Everybody likes sex, and they're just producing it in a way that makes it fun and easily accessible.
Right.
So as a parent, just give them the real picture, okay, while that is happening, some of that's unrealistic. Like, most women don't orgasm with penis and vagina intercourse. Like 97% don't. And also, you have to get to know somebody, and even to have sex, people need to have conversations to make sure that you're both consenting and you're both comfortable with this.
Pizza guy doesn't
pizza guy
laid all the time.
You can get a pizza job if you like pizza.
Women don't, like a lot of the porn bodies. You know, it's like they do crazy surgeries.
Mm-hmm. And
right?
women's bodies are beautiful just the way they are. And actually, I would really want to focus on teenage girls too, because I feel like there's a lot that makes them feel so self-conscious. Like even every magazine, man, every magazine shows these women perfect. Like even letting them know, that's airbrushed. And actually, I don't know if you noticed, but the models are in these weird positions, and they do that so that you can't see the natural pooch that every woman has in her belly. That's actually quite feminine and pretty, but they do.
Well,
like
but even like Victoria's
crazy movement.
Secret models, they've said that their entire body has makeup, and I've seen them talk about you cannot believe how much makeup they put on our bodies before we walk down that stage, and then airbrush so that it looks like I've got muscles in places I really don't have muscles and that kind of thing. I mean, it's
not a real
illusion.
body.
Right.
And that's something that I just want everybody to know, is that, like, actually your body is beautiful as it is. And sometimes what you have to learn to do is, I've been doing this with clients a lot recently. I've been having my women see their body as an art canvas. Like, if you were to go to an art museum, usually you say, oh, I like the way this flows into this, or this is kind of interesting how this splashes into this. So I'm having women kind of try to look at their body as art. And if they were looking at art, what would they see out of the body that's beautiful? And also comparing it to things like that they like, that are nice, like peaches. Breasts are like peaches. They're beautiful. Nobody says, oh, I can't stand that peach. Unless you really hate peaches, but whatever.
It could happen to some people, but
Yeah.
you know.
But yeah, I want to prevent that negative body image, because I'm seeing it do a lot of damage to people's sex lives.
Right. So I feel like in America, and tell me if I'm wrong, but in America, I think that we have a problem with talking about sex, where other cultures do not have it as. Why? I mean, because we certainly have it on like every program we can possibly put it into. You know what I mean? Like, why do we have such an issue?
I think there's a lot of shame around it. I think it's interesting. Like, every 20 or so years, a new sex therapist person will come up and they'll become popular, but it's like all the information fades away, and then it's like, well, where did all that information go? I think as a society, we're so scared of sex that, like, even if somebody, you know, if somebody has a show like that, it's relegated to midnight, even if it's an educational show, like what we've talked about here, some of the things people would be like, oh, how dare you even say that? Did she say labia? And I think it's fear-based, and it's not helping. It's causing more problems than
That's what I think.
It is. Yeah.
That's why we have these crazy where boys have access to this and there's no background, like, here's what all this means, because we don't want to talk about it.
Well, and one thing I want you guys to know, you talked about kids. Children who are educated about sex, like given comprehensive education, wait till they're older to have sex. There's research on that.
Wow.
And it's because they know the information, and they can look at it and make a decision that's best for them. But kids who don't know about it, they just let their hormones kind of guide them.
Right, which is not the best guide.
Definitely not. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but in like 7th grade, the boys would just like sit in the desk and they couldn't move because they had erections. Like,
Poor boys.
It was a tough time. But like, just because a girl kind of like brushed up against them briefly.
Right.
You shouldn't let your hormones guide your choices.
Don't let your hormones guide. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, this is just, thank you. I appreciate so much what you do. You know,
Thank you.
I mean, and that you are bringing this to people to kind of like have a conversation. Don't be so afraid of the conversation. It's an important conversation. It's an important part of life. I think what you do is amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being my guest today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I know we will see each other again soon.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, everyone out there, you've been listening to Mishmash, so please go to iTunes and subscribe. And thank you for your time today. See you next time. Thanks, darling. That was wonderful.
And thank you all for joining.
Thank you, guys. Have a happy day. Well, bye, people. Bye, Angela's peeps.
Let me